You're listening to the Timmy Wimmy Tea Time Podcast, a GeekyAntics.net production where lovely and amazing people talk and ponder anything and everything about Doctor Who, science fiction, fantasy, zombies, the end of the world, creativity, writing, and, oh heck yes, anything else that geeks speak, question, and think.
Tiny, whiny tea time.
Me gusta.
Hello! Welcome to the second half of Timey Wimey Tea Time, hashtag TWTT. We're going to continue our discussion, our Doctor Who flashback. We're talking about the Mind Robber with Patrick Troughton, who we're calling affectionately the Lost Doctor, because there's not much left of his stories from those days, those early days of Doctor Who. But we left off with a little bit of a teaser of the plot of the story. Now, before we mislead anyone, we kept mentioning the Master. I wanted to say right off the bat, one of the big reveals here, they keep talking about the Master, right? It's like, oh, the Master wouldn't like that. Oh, the Master wouldn't approve of that. Oh, the Master says this. Oh, the Master expects us to do that. The Master reigns supreme. Oh, okay. And then all this build-up, and then you realize that when they finally reveal the Master, it's not the Master, it's a Master.
The sad face.
I know, and I kind of got everybody hyped. The past couple of shows talking about this. It's still great, but it's like all this setup really made you go there to that realization, especially if you're going back to this. You're like, oh, I know the Master. That's a familiar character, and it's like, no, it's not that Master. It's another Master. It would have been perfect because they had like. The character they built up was kind of delightfully cheesy, and it reminded me a bit of the Riddler. So I'm like, oh, that would have been a perfect way to introduce the Master. All these puzzles and strange challenges that he set up for them, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And then BFT said this could be really good or really bad. Kool-Aid is a really great drink. I was actually just drinking coffee, but I have to slow down because, too much caffeine, and then you gotta keep going on bio breaks. No good, no bueno. Also, BFT says he's actually saying that in reference to Nintendo's working with Netflix to make a live-action Legend of Zelda series. Oh, that's what he was saying. It could be really good or really bad. That could be interesting. They should bring back Photon, that laser tag show. Remember that?
Oh my gosh.
That's how they picture. That's how they pictured the future. Like all these people, like seeing the future, like they really didn't have any. They either had really low hopes or really super high hopes, like the Jetsons. The year 2000, we'll have flying cars. Back to the Future, year 2014, I think they said, or 2013. Like we're gonna have shoes that lace themselves and hoverboards and all this stuff. Some of that stuff happened, but not really.
Some of it happened just because they said it would happen, and they're like, "Oh, gotta make this happen real quick."
Yeah, someone's gotta make. Some marketing guy was like, "We gotta put this to production. People want this demand." But so let's talk about Mind Robber. They have a theme here. That I like: swords and words. They bring it up a couple of times, but then it's kind of like implied, and I really like it. To me, that's what really stood out for me, just because. Is like this whole notion of words are just as powerful as swords, right? And I really like that premise because we've often talked on Time Wimey Tea Time about how words, could be very dangerous. There's mouth garbage, and sometimes we don't realize just how powerful our words are. So they play on that. It's a wonderful premise here. You saw on the first half of the show, Oolong was talking about the main plot, sharing the synopsis that we pulled from Wikipedia. I think that was their official synopsis too, and it's just great. Just all the things they have in play here. These fictional characters, the unicorn and Gulliver from Gulliver's Travels, which I'm a big fan of. Uh, all these wonderful little things in there, and you're like, what are they doing with this? And it sounds so ridiculous, but it takes you on this wonderful adventure. And this is one of the first times in classic Doctor Who where we really see just how grand the scale of Doctor Who is. I feel you see that it's a world where just about anything can happen, but ultimately it comes back to logic and science, and they tie it up so well. It's just a wonderful adventure from beginning to end.
It is. And one of the things I really liked is they reinforce the pen is mightier than the sword. There's actually times that you may run into in the episode where you notice as the doctor's attempting to do something, he cannot put himself in the story. If he did it, he would become fiction himself. And so he had to choose his words very carefully. And
Yeah.
truly, words became mightier than the sword by the end of the episode.
And this was a very good setting for the elusive mind battle. When we talked about a few episodes back, we talked about I think it was the Spearhead. No, it wasn't Spearhead in Space. Gosh, which one was it? Where John Pertwee, the third Doctor, fought another Time Lord, Omega, I believe his name was, or and they had a mind battle, but it was like them literally like wrestling each other inside their heads. It was weird. Here they do it well. Like there's actually an intellectual battle. Like I have to choose my words carefully because if I make myself part of the story, I turn it to fiction, and then I've lost because then the master, quote unquote, has control over me.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, one slip of the word, one wrong word, and he could actually himself no longer exist. So I mean, everything he chose was careful and timed, and he'd catch and correct himself. You know,
Yeah,
and when they had to use their knowledge, their imagination, and their pure love of the written word to kind of have the final showdown as
yep.
they're bringing out all of these fictional creatures for what basically was the ultimate showdown of literary heroes and villains.
Yeah, and it's just I really enjoyed this. It was a nice little treat. It was something that you almost did not expect from classic Doctor Who. They had great set pieces. It felt like they had a higher budget than they usually had to work with in those days. Just
Mhm.
really wonderful set pieces, and it just took you to a wonderful place. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about it. And not and it made me appreciate the second Doctor more because he actually was intelligent here. He wasn't kind of this silly guy with a recorder playing his recorder to get inspired or get ideas. That's part of his shtick, and he doesn't rely on that prop here. He just brings his own personality into it without having to lean on the quote unquote Sonic.
Right. It can't always be that technology when best thing you can do is use your mind and prevail with just what you know.
Dexter Effect makes a good point in the chat about how Doctor Who should have a game that's in the mystery genre. The Doctor Who adventure games, from what I've seen, are adventure type games. It'd be neat. I would love to see a game that's maybe 3D Metroidvania style game meets Myst, maybe something like that, like or King's Quest.
You know what I want to see?
That'd be neat.
I would want to see, and I'm sure to some of the older fans this might appeal. The younger fans are gonna be like, "What is that?" But I would love to see a Doctor Who meets Where in Time is Carmen San Diego, just taking elements from the
Oh,
whole Whoverse. So whether you're going to Gallifrey or New Earth 10 or the space stations, kind of taking you through those adventures with an almost trivia, historical questions, kind of, pressing it at the end, eventually trying to thwart the master who maybe undid certain things that were not fixed points in time from Doctor Who.
Yep, yep. That'd be really neat. And then with the whole timey-wimey wibbly wobbly, you definitely would want a full blown Doctor Who game. I'd like decisions that actually impact how the story develops. That'd be neat. But
Oh, yeah.
time travel is such a hard mechanic to deal with from a game development and a storytelling perspective. So that'd be really interesting. But back to mind robber before we get into our dreams of
All right.
what could be.
Absolutely. There was a bit of contrast in this episode from the Aztecs, which we talked about on the last show. There was no real romantic interest for the Doctor this time around, and it's more about the science fiction than the accurate historical drama, and I'd even say a little bit more into the literary kind of side because it was all fiction. It wasn't, there was no nonfiction, so it kind of let the imagination and the sci-fi run a little more wild.
Yeah, it did, and I really enjoyed that. Though it's funny, like when you mentioned the disintegrator, molecular disintegrator, ray gun, whatever. It's funny, like he said that's not a real thing. Like he was so sure that can never exist. Like, well, I kind of would have liked to seen that be a possibility. Like, don't pigeonhole yourself. Like, I would like to see a little pew pew. But I guess it is. So Doctor Who universe, I guess you can't disintegrate molecules. You could only I guess break them apart, perhaps. A discombobulator, if you will.
A molecular scrambler, perhaps.
Ooh, so Dexter says he would like to see Doctor Who as a searching and crafting game. Yeah, with some strong puzzle solving and a mystery elements. Man, this could be fun. But all right, we're gonna keep going back to that. We're gonna keep brainstorming here, and then someone's gonna steal our ideas. Hey, give us credit. Don't forget, Time Webby Tea Time. It happened here with the community. But another thing that's a contrast here is that instead of the standard 4 episode story arc that we've gotten used to from classic Doctor Who, and basically anything prior to the 2005 revival series, right, with Chris Eccleston and going onward. This was a 5 episode story arc, and I didn't feel like it dragged on at all. Did you?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say it dragged on. I think it was really solid. The only thing that kind of got me is, other than minor, uh, small back kind of elements, the first episode I didn't feel was as prominent as kind of the other four in the set.
That is true. Now, like that, they were kind of setting the stage, and it was a lot of exposition, which is kind of something that's been consistent throughout Doctor Who. Like they do tend to fall into the trap of having too much exposition and setup, and it's like, all right, well, let's start getting to some of the payoff because you're setting the bar rather high. But you gotta admit though, when the TARDIS blew up, spoilers. It was like, what?
Yeah, that was the best part. That cliffhanger really caught me, but it also made me appreciate kind of a time back when they really weren't front loading episodes, You'd watch it and you're like, okay, well, I mean, this is a pretty standard episode, and then that cliffhanger hits you and you're like, wait, now I need to know what happens next episode. And it stopped them from having to kind of load all the action towards the front to keep you hooked towards where now like now what feels like most shows kind of linger in the back of their episodes. They brought that impact and then held it through the next 4 episodes really solidly.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. Like the world has changed overall. Now it's like everything needs to be epic and fast paced, or else people are like, meh, So no, they did really good job. I think they did a fantastic job with the pacing. Like I really enjoyed the Aztecs. I know you did too. With the Aztecs, it was an excellent historical drama and a great story, but it wasn't like what we've come to expect from Doctor Who overall. But it was still great going back to it, and it held up very well. There were some parts where it did feel a little long in the tooth, so to speak. But now they keep going back to the video game Doctor Who here idea. So BFT says so like Myst, Bioshock, Carmen Sandiego combination. So like Bioshock for the writing and puzzle and light crafting from the first. Oh, that'd be good. Someone make this happen, please.
Right.
But you know, that's the thing. Doctor Who still has such a niche kind of like people say it's become very mainstream, but it's still kind of a niche. That's why you still have these indie developers, these smaller developers, smaller studios developing the games. They don't have that AAA budget. If we could have like an indie developer that truly loves Doctor Who and would give it the proper treatment, but then be backed, have the backing of a big company, almost AAA company perhaps, maybe a Kickstarter, who knows, and we could have this happen, oh man. Yeah, I do have experience in the game development. Something of that scale, though, ooh, that'd be a huge undertaking. I mean, I've done mostly like, puzzle games and point-and-click adventure type kind of games and MUDs. Though I did a long time ago, I did this really fun take on like pinball meets Arkanoid, and I had fun doing that. That was cool. Yeah, but anyway, enough about me. So, what do you think about the characters in here? They had a lot of nice little characters. They had Gulliver from Gulliver's Travels I mentioned earlier, right. And he showed up a lot. He was fun. And then the creepy kids, and of course the toy soldiers from kind of Nutcracker environment.
Oh man, I think a few of my favorites. They didn't have big cameos, but they were definitely like D'Artagnan. D'Artagnan and the Musketeers was.
Oh yeah, he was in there.
He was him and Cyrano de Bergerac made an appearance, and I think that the over animated style at which they kind of comically did his nose for Cyrano made me laugh. Like it was, you got to see it to really appreciate it. That alone's worth watching the entire arc. I think we saw Blackbeard come out, and the kids, like that was the one thing that I couldn't place them. I placed almost every other character, but those kids are amazing. The first time that they kind of meet the Doctor and they just throw these riddles and puzzles at him. And that's the first time we get the swords and words, because the kid holds the sword to him and he goes, what else is a sword? And the Doctor thinks about it, and the kids are kind of giving him hints, and they're like, really think about it differently. And he rearranges it and he goes, swords are words. If I rearrange the letters, swords are words. And he throws the sword up and the dictionary comes down.
Yeah, that was a cool little simple effect, but it had a nice impact.
Yeah, it was definitely very, very pristine how they did it.
It was neat too, the fact that they did not really give us a reference, a literary reference for the kids, made them kind of mysterious and eerie to me. Like, I can't place them. Where are they from? And you kept thinking the kids were going to do something. I felt like I kept feeling they were going to do something really devious. Like, oh, I don't trust those kids at all.
Right.
Like, Gulliver was too much of a gentleman to, like, turn on them. But it was just funny, like, the whole time they kept trying to get his help. And he's like, I don't see anything there. I don't see any robots. What are you talking about?
Oh, and the Rapunzel moments. There's some stuff. Okay, we all know the story of Rapunzel. She lets down her hair, people climb it. But then there's these moments where, like, someone will just be standing next to her. They kind of just lightly tug her hair, and she's like, ow. I'm like, so wait. This, like, 210-pound guy climbs up your hair. Not a peep. Soon as someone, like, pulls 3 hairs, you're like, oh, man, I'm dying. I'm dying.
That was actually really funny. It supported the whole theme of fiction. And it's like, can I suspend my disbelief here? Maybe. Another thing you mentioned was the kids doing the singing and stuff. And they had the whole, what was the song they were singing?
They did Ring Around the Rosie.
And then ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, right? And then, but instead of saying ashes, ashes, they all fall down. What they said, tissues, tissues, or something.
Yeah, they use the word tissues, and it goes back to the origins. It was kind of an interesting little moment in there where they say tissues, we all fall down, which is the original nursery rhyme. Like we all know nursery rhymes have the more modern kind of Disneyed versions, but back in the original Grimm fairy tales, things like that, they had a darker meaning.
Oh
And
yeah, like
it
old
was
fairy tales and nursery rhymes were some of the most morbid things ever. I mean, a cradle being rocked on a tree and then it falls down, like stuff like that. Like, what? Why would you tell kids these things? Like, ugh.
right, the stories of Rapunzel. At one point, when the guy falls down, he falls into thicket bushes that actually like cut him up and blind him. I mean,
Gosh.
yeah, there were some very, what now they would consider, not kid friendly moments, but they were always to tell a tale of being careful, being
Yep.
weary, being
Cautionary
respectful.
tales. Yep. They were really heavy-handed parables.
They were like, listen or else.
Yep. And Star Child, if unless she had to run off, but she probably would have appreciated the fact that Grimm is really good about sharing the darker side of the old, Aesop's tales and the Brothers Grimm stories. They really do not pull punches. Like, man, there really were some like dark stories in other those stories that we've come to know as like lighthearted romps. And not quite that.
Absolutely.
But so yeah, the whole you were talking about how the tissues is people blowing their coffee into tissues, and they were like there was like plague going on. This is where the origins were, and they coughed up blood, and the people falling down as them dying. It's like that got serious very quickly.
Yeah, like they would cough into the tissues. So when they said tissues, it was because they'd grab them, cough into them, and they knew they were dying. And it was like, wow, it's pretty impactful considering they put it in a Doctor Who. And now the more common is ashes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a sign of the time too, because I believe when the plague was happening, they wound up like burning everything to try and kill out the plague.
Yep.
So it's kind of interesting, just those little facts that they kind of add in. They're wonderful gems.
London Bridge is another good one. That song, I forget exactly the event that refers to, but that's another serious thing. You sing it because you know it just gets stuck in your head, but you don't really know you can't appreciate it till you find out what really happened. It's like, oh wow, I didn't know. BFT makes a good point. So you can't even drop an anvil on someone's head these days without some parents getting uppity. But meanwhile, the parents give kids cell phones and unmoderated internet access. Like,
Yeah. They buy them Call of Duty.
Yeah, they buy them Call of Duty. Oh, no problem. Shoot other people. Why not? But the ESRB ratings be darned. But that's true. Like, we become hypersensitive. Like cartoons. I used to have so much fun with cartoons, and I knew it was. I never got violent, inclinations by watching Bugs Bunny or any of the Warner Brothers stuff. Or Popeye. I mean, Popeye. Yeah, he ate his veggies, he ate spinach and then he got strong. That's a good lesson. But then he's beating up this dude constantly because he's trying to get his girl. That's not a very good lesson either, but it was fun. I mean, or Power Rangers Season 2, Lord Zed initially was an evil, bad, let's just say bad A. I don't know. I'm trying to keep it as tame as possible, though that's not really a bad word. But some people
We'll just go with Bamf. He was a
Bamf. There you go. And you do with that what you want, folks. But some parents complained and he became an incompetent doofus. That's actually true. Yeah, I remember that. My kids were really big on Power Rangers. We were a Power Rangers household. It was a fun thing. We're still big on Pokemon too. Fun fact. Well, some of us, not all of us. You always have the kids that are like, no, that's for little kids. I'm like, no, it's still cool. I like Pokemon. I'm a grown man and I'm an old fart and I like Pokemon. But anyway. But when we talk about Doctor Who, as we wrap up this flashback, you got to talk about the companions, because the companions are a huge part of the mythos and the storytelling in Doctor Who. And the companions play a very vital role. They help ease new audiences into the universe, and they even us, old school Whovians. When the companions help us relate to the stories better, and make us be more easily immersed, so to speak. So how do we feel about the companions here, real quick? Is there a nice dichotomy between Zoe, Jamie, and the Doctor? Are they entertaining, relatable, and balanced as characters? Now, I'm gonna say real quick, there's been times in classic Doctor Who where they go from having a companion that's way too high level and too much like the Doctor for us to relate, almost like unreachable, unrelatable completely. And then they go to complete opposite and they bring someone like Joe, who's like, "Dee-dee-dee." It's like, oh, all right, we need something in between. Like I happen to like Romana, like the Time Lord companion for the Doctor, one of the few ones you could think of. And Susan, his granddaughter, she was kind of high level, but not too much. So how do we feel about the characters here?
I think for the Zoe Jamie kind of thing, I think we saw a continuation into a theme that's very strong inside of the Doctor Who universe, which is strong women.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, she beats up a superhero. Like she beats up this comic book superhero who had come to life, and she's very just strong in that manner.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Jamie is a little comic relief, kind of. Like I said, dude rocks a battle kilt though through the whole thing. So
He's like the Leroy Jenkins of the piece. Like he just
a little bit.
yeah. I don't think they deliberately made him just completely ridiculous, and it's fun. But yes, I love like anyone that tries to say that like Doctor Who is about an alien that womanizes, and all this stuff. He's kind of a chauvinist. They obviously have not seen from the beginning, because it's always been strong female characters, almost carrying the show at times, if not completely carrying it. I mean, they complement the Doctor well, and sometimes they take the place of the Doctor when the Doctor becomes incompetent for whatever reason. So and especially back in these classic Doctor Who days, in the '60s, women were still trying to be taken seriously and be given rights and be seen as more than just housewives that clean and make us sandwiches on demand. Bake me a pie, woman. It was these are like women that kick butt and take names. I mean, that's awesome that they were like the show. I think in so many ways was looking way ahead into the evolution of mankind and telling it, that story from these really fantasy kind of worlds almost. That's great.
Yeah.
See, another reason to love Doctor Who, guys. Now, in the next show, we're probably gonna, I don't know what we're gonna discuss for sure. We're gonna Oolong and I are gonna brainstorm a bit and watch the different episodes and see what we're really in the mood to do. We might go completely sequential, but we have to skip a few things because we're ready to spearhead from space and then some other things. But we're kind of dabbling with the idea of doing Tomb of the Cybermen, Carnival of Monsters, Seeds of Death, which, by the way, is where the Ice Warriors first appear, if I'm not mistaken. Leisure Hive, a wonderful, that is a Tom Baker episode, if I recall. I saw it recently, too. God, my memory's terrible. But that was a fun one. And it's a Romana episode. So you have the female Time Lord in there. There's lots of stuff we talk about. What are you leaning towards? What do you think, bro?
Man. They're all so good. Like that's
well, if it helps any, Carnival of Monsters has the miniscope, so it's another miniaturized story.
Oh yes, it does. I could definitely see leaning to Carnival of Monsters. I could.
Oh, we just broke BFT's heart because he said he wants pie. No place delivers pie on demand. Aw. Or cake, for that matter.
True.
Now, I'm a big fan of flan. And in the Doctor Who universe, the Doctor is a big fan of custard. And flan is custard/cake. So is probably the most OP food out there if you like sweets.
Oh man, that's true. I actually found a really good dessert style recipe to make a desserty fish fingers and custard.
Oh, dude. Oh, now I'm hungry too. Darn it. For you folks that are not on the live show right now, you're missing the great Twitch chat. Everybody's adding some great. The stuff we can't even relate to you on the audio feed. You just have to be there. So if we start laughing, or if we start giggling like little schoolgirls randomly, that's why. So, I was gonna do again. I was gonna do the comments this week, but I think we only have a good 20 minutes or so to start wrapping this up. I don't know. I don't know if we have enough time to give these comments proper time.
attention.
Yeah, proper attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we're still playing with the format, but I did want to just kind of go into some banter. We do have some talking points to discuss. So I think that might be where we wrap up the show. I don't know. What do you think? You want to do comments, or leave it for next time again?
You know what? Here's what I want to do. I want people to not only I want to have one more comment and 1 to 2 voicemails left so that we can I will make sure to not I'll help keep Yogi on point. I'll keep myself on point as best I can, and we can make sure we will dedicate a section to the comments in the next episode
Yes, because these
with
are
voicemail.
older comments that we have here that are still relevant, but we want some fresh stuff to throw into the mix. Because these are comments we haven't covered yet. But yeah, if we get the voicemail messages, at least that definitely will it'll give us further incentive to really carve out the time for the comments. So keep those things coming. Of course, you go over to youtube.com/GeekyAntics and just look for the Time Miami Tea Time playlist, which is also at bit.ly/TWTT, all caps, playlist. Very simple. The playlist is all lowercase. So TWTT is all caps and then playlist. That's bit.ly/TWTT playlist. But let's get into our banter and merriment. One of the things I wanted to mention is that people keep bringing up this silly notion of the timing Miami potato, and everybody's like, "What? The potato? What are you talking about?" And I thought it tickled me that the historian talks about the timing Miami potato in one of his episodes. So that might be something we'll bring up in a future show. Maybe we'll get him on this show so we can talk about this whole potato thing.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but lately, like all of our podcasts and even our gameplay streams our let's plays have turned into like foodie sessions where we just talk about food that we wish we could have right now. I don't know. That might tell us something about where we're at this moment. But let's talk a little bit about actually before we get into some of the video game talk. Let's talk about our mega awesome giveaway again.
Oh, I love the Mega Awesome giveaway. So here's the information. Everybody, pay close attention. Hashtag Mega Awesome giveaway. All right, make sure check that out on Twitter. But the GeekyAntics Network, United Broadcasting Network, and of course our friends from allgames.com and across the interwebs have teamed up to bring the biggest grand prize pot yet. There's weekly giveaways, daily entry opportunities, tons of incentives that we're currently playing around with. Now, I'm gonna give you guys the website. It's http:// that's bit.ly/ mega awesome giveaway. Now, right now there are tons of neat ideas as far as incentives go. You can have your own cartoon character drawn up by a gentleman that you just may have heard of. Goes by Yomar, maybe a Yogi.
I flip flop,
Just saying, a little. We you know what? We're friends enough here with all of the listeners. We can say Yomar. He'll make you nice little nifty cartoon character there, and help us create a comic strip. Maybe if you want to be a guest on one of our podcasts, have an opportunity to, I don't know, perhaps tell us that we banter too much in person, or maybe get in on the flan and custard discussions. We definitely see that being options. I mean, there's always things kind of being added. Maybe a low budget jingle or parody made at your request, and he doesn't know this yet. I haven't told Yugi. I'm a fan of parodies. I love working on them.
Yeah, they're
So,
fun.
Contributing in there. I
And fun
know.
fact, my wife always tells me that I should just make like a YouTube channel or a podcast, or do like songs that are parodies or something. Cause I'm always like taking a song that's playing and then like putting my own words to it. And she's like cracking up. She's like, "Shut up! I'm trying to listen to the song."
Now, see, perfect. So, of course, there's always that opportunity. Now, remember, folks, this is the Geeky Antics hashtag mega awesome community call. All right. We want everyone to have a chance to go out there, tell their friends, get involved, come join the mega awesome giveaway, and there's plenty of these. There's still things being added. You never know. We want to make sure we can get sponsors and everybody out there so that gives us more opportunity to bring more to you guys. So let your friends know. Everyone's got that friend who could use something kind of cool done, and Geeky Antics, we love to be the ones to bring it to you.
Definitely. And these are all ideas we have. So if you want to share an idea something you would like to see as an incentive, because prizes are fun, but we want to do something else that's really unique to us. Fun things that aren't like necessarily they don't necessarily have like a dollar amount. Like doing the Geeky Antics mega awesome community call where a bunch of people call in, we just have a big discussion and just completely derail. That'd be fun. We could record that and put it up as a YouTube. Maybe do it through Google Hangout type thing. Google Hangout on air. We could do that. So these would be some of the kind of incentives we're playing with. I mean, maybe we'll do a custom D&D campaign where some of our favorites, our biggest supporters, our biggest friends in Geeky Antics and the TWTT community, maybe people over at allgames.com, we have them turn into characters in the campaign. There's so many things we could do. So let us know what you'd like to see, and we'll keep setting up new milestones to unlock achievements, and then kick off these different incentives and rewards. So it's a 2-month-long campaign. We're just trying to create that big old hype train to keep momentum going here. But now that we've established that, and by the way, another easy link you go to, geekyantics.net/giveaways. That'll also take you to our giveaways. But now let's talk about some of the games we've been playing, some of the stuff we've been up to, which basically is the same thing. What have we been up to besides work? Playing video games. Yep, pretty much.
Yep, seems right. Let's see. Do you want to start? You want to start with your games?
Yeah, I can. So I've been playing a lot of Smite and Heroes of the Storm. I just enjoy these kind of games because I find like they're great for community game nights. Because you have a fairly large team size, you can invite people into them. Now, Heroes of the Storm is a little more exclusive, whereas Smite, anyone can jump on it as long as you have a decent enough computer. And I like the MOBAs because if they're played right, they're about teamwork and capturing objectives. Still playing Ghost Recon Phantoms. I like the tactical shooters, but of course, as FPS games are known to be quite salty. There's some salty people on there, and with the voice chat built in, some of the expletives on there are pretty crazy. But one of the games that has been, outside of my usual mainstay. My mainstays in Soulforge and Hearthstone and whatnot. Speedrunners has been the surprise hit where I just keep coming back to this game. It's the kind of game that I wouldn't think I would enjoy it because I'm not hyper competitive, and this is like by nature a hyper competitive game, but it's so much fun. It's a racing game, which again I wouldn't think I would like, but it's fun. I don't know. It reminds me of so many things that I do like N Plus or Bionic Commando, like little things from different games that I love thrown in together. There's so many characters to pick from, and it's such a colorful game. It's fast paced, so you can get a lot of matches in, and it's just good times. 4 players, online or local co-op. You can actually get the party mode, the single player. Actually, well, not single player, the local co-op version of the game, so you can try it out on tinybuild.com/speedrunners. Download that, and you can have a little party in your house. It's a great game to just have good times with friends. So can't recommend it enough. Another one that's been a big surprise, and I don't know if people are enjoying watching me play it. People don't leave, they don't say anything about it, but I've been playing Card City Nights, and I'm enjoying that quite a bit. So it's got a cutesy art style to it that's really endearing to me. I don't know why. So it's not Hearthstone, it's not Magic the Gathering, it's not Soul Forge, it's not quite as deep as that. It's really deck building game meets tic tac toe, but I don't think that does enough justice. And it's neat. It reminds me a little bit of like Yu-Gi-Oh video games where you have an overworld and you talk to people and then you battle them. It's fun. I'm really quite enjoying that. But anyway, that's enough about me. What have you been playing?
All right. Well, I'm gonna assume that I must have had kind of a low sodium count lately because I've gone back to League of Legends. Apparently, I missed the salt. So I went back to League of Legends. I've been playing a lot of that lately. But a game I actually picked up just because the storyline looked phenomenal, Dying Light.
I saw you playing that, yeah.
Lots of parkour zombies. Kind of got that old itch out of the system for a little old Mirror's Edge parkour style added with a little bit of zombie sprinkled in.
That's a beautiful looking game, and I have to say that even though it doesn't do that much more to the zombie/survival genre, which is quite crowded, it is the best of its class. I feel like better than H1Z1, Daisy, all that. Though it's more about story than it is the open world mechanics. It's almost like what Dead Island should have been. But the other thing, I've heard that it's 50 plus hours if you want to just go through the story.
I would not be surprised. I'll be honest. I'm one of those 100%ers.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I like to finish it. So I played the very early part, got into some of the story. I'm about 2% into the story, and I've probably run about 35 missions. That's how sidetracked I got story-wise. There's so much to do in that game. Safe houses and the general open world feel. It's amazing. There's so much. That's one of those games that I can't say enough about. Like Dying Light, really, it surprised me. I didn't think I was gonna like it. As everyone who knows me knows, I've been waiting for Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh yeah.
My inner competitive spirit, that full destructible environment, the 5v5 kind of aspect. Oh, it looks so beautiful. That's kind of on my list. But while I'm waiting for those, League of Legends, Dying Light, speedrunners, gotta play speedrunners, man. It brings the Mario Party out of me, like that kid, sitting in a room talking all that trash to your friend. It's like, oh, look at me, I'm so far in the lead, and then he grappling hooks you, and you're like, that's not fair. How did you know? Or you accidentally wind up missiling yourself because your one friend slows down and then speeds out of nowhere.
Yep.
Maybe random person drops boxes on your head while you're trying to wall jump up an area.
Who does that? I don't know who does that. That's really
Right.
it's a mean thing to do. But unlike Mario Party, it's more leaning towards the skill than the RNG. Because that's the RNG. I love the Mario Party series. I'm one of those weird guys that likes it. I love mini games. Like I played the crap out of them in Warcraft 3, and I kind of want to go back to it and play some Uther Party and whatnot. But people don't like that aspect where it's like I'm clearly the best player, but now someone spins a wheel and they steal all my stuff. It's like so random. It's like it's not really about who plays the best. It's just about who gets the luckiest. But this is definitely a skill-based game. Like there's RNG in there, but true to what speedrunning is about, it's more about getting a feel for the flow of each map and the gameplay style of each player. Getting all those variables down into constants as much as possible, so you can account for those things and improve your lap time, so to speak, and get that slight edge.
Oh, absolutely. I think the last game that I've kind of been working on, and I say working on because I'm trying to get better at it, is Counter-Strike Go, CS:GO.
I might join you on that sometime.
It's a learning curve. I did not expect it to be quite as difficult because I come from a shooter background, lots of Call of Duty and stuff. I was like, this shouldn't be anything There's a lot of minor intricacies they have put into that game to make it I can see why it's becoming very quickly one of the best competitive shooters in the overall kind of FPS universe at the moment. A lot of like just to start playing, it's not so bad. But when you really get into the competitive aspect and you really start playing it, the curve just flies up. Uh,
Yeah.
but I love that about it. I love the challenge.
It's got some really weird mechanics. Like even if you're familiar with Counter Strike, it plays so differently. Like the whole notion of aim for the head, but then start moving down to their feet, and then with that'll count for the recoil, and you'll end up getting a headshot. Like, huh? Why can't I just aim for the head to begin with? Like, it's just so crazy the way the guns handle in there. It's weird.
Yeah, the stutter strafing and
Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of strange little nuances and techniques you have to pick up to be good at that game. Like, and the gap between a good player and a great player is just so huge. It can be daunting, but when you play it with friends, I can see it being fun. It's just not the game that I'll jump in solo. It's just too much. Now BFT is talking about Dexter just brought up the whole thing about oh gosh. Again, they're talking about how Game of Thrones is kind of like a soft porn series. And they brought up the notion again about how it'd be cool to see a female regeneration of the Doctor, because he can obviously control. That's one of the things they established. He control how he regenerates, what he turns into. I'd like to see a female Time Lord. I don't know about if I want to see a female regeneration. I don't think we're there yet. It'd be neat, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be inauthentic. It'd be like pandering at this point. But they're saying maybe he'll regenerate into Clara, and BFT's like, no, I don't want to see that. I would jump ship. I still don't like Clara. Clara's grown on me, but imagine Amy Pond coming back in that manner. That'd be crazy. I regenerated to look like Amy.
I want to know what's gonna come first though, the female regeneration or the ginger.
He does keep bringing up the ginger. It's like, am I ginger?
You know, they're both there, so I think that's gonna be that's gonna be the interesting. Like, will he be ginger? Will he even be a he? Find out next on the regeneration cycle.
You know, they also had, if you're looking at our video, you'll see that we have the slideshow of different Doctor Who things and random stuff like selfie and whatnot. But one of the things we have in the slides is the old cover where they try to tease that Dave Morrissey, aka the Governor from The Walking Dead, would become the next Doctor. That still could be a thing. That'd be interesting. I don't know if I can see beyond him being the Governor now. It's like, no, you're the Governor. Darn you. Hugs. Welcome to. I like that name. Hugs _ Simple, and it works. Hugs for everybody. Welcome to Tea Time. We are running short on time. I did want to mention some of the other things we were talking about in the pre-show, which I don't know if I'm going to upload at this point. We may not. We'll see. But we'll try to chop them up into different videos. But that's why you need to be here live. You might miss out some good pre-show and post-show stuff. We're talking about the importance of frame of reference in all content. It might be something a topic we might discuss in a future show. But I like this concept, you know, particularly in TV shows and video games, because it changes how we approach things and how we perceive things, right? For example, how does a Nuvian, right, approach classic Doctor Who? Conversely, how does a Whovian approach new Doctor Who? It's very different, and there's certain expectations and things we you know, our worldview, the things we latch onto and focus on. You know, it's very different. In the video game, a similar thing happens. You know, there's certain core mechanics and tropes we've come to expect or are accustomed to, depending on how much history we have with video games. Like, you know, people say, oh, Super Mario is a really easy game. Yeah, now, because we understand, you know, jump, run, those core mechanics we've seen in a lot of platforming games. But when you're the first platformer, essentially, to come around, it's like, whoa, what's going on here? I don't get it. What is this? I'm used to freaking Pong. Just give me a paddle, and, you know?
Yeah.
So that I feel like this is some interesting thing that happens there in all kinds of content. So that's something we might explore in the future and kind of geek out on. But Ulan, you were talking about we got about a good 9 minutes left. So let's talk about real quick your fun, two of your fun things that you're excited about or tickled by.
All right. Well, going into the kind of the talk about, what older, younger generations of gamers, there's actually 2 points on this. There was a video that went out a while back. It wasn't too long ago, but it was teens reacting to Mike Tyson's Punch Out on the NES. And, over time, any of us older gamers kind of remembered the patterns and stuff. But as these kids would play, they were getting knocked out by Glass Joe the very first fight. And they were like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. I couldn't understand it. I was like, man, these kids are going up and they're like, I'm Little Mac, I'm this guy. And then they'd get knocked out by Glass Joe. And they were like, no, I dodged that. And you almost kind of saw the Johns come out in them. They're like, is this a standard controller? Is that how it works? It's like, don't blame the controller. Just don't do it.
It's true. I think part of that is games these days hold our hands so much. Where it used to be like these overpowered characters, almost godlike, and then when you're put in a situation where you're a fledgling, it's like, what do I do? Wait, I have to actually use skill here. I can't just button mash. Yeah, the Nintendo hard, that phrase really existed during NES, maybe Super Nintendo era, but during NES the games were unforgiving. Sometimes to the point of not even being fun. Punch Out was fun, but yeah. I remember even getting frustrated when the Flamingo dude would beat you.
Oh yeah, dude, Mike Tyson, that one-hitter quitter. As soon as he hit you, it was just knocked down.
Yeah.
And you were so defeated inside.
You really need to pay attention to like his little eye animations and all that stuff. It's like, okay, King Hippo with his little belly button thing. You have to know how to expose his belly button to get the pot shot there. Or else he was frustrating. That was a great game.
But see, on the other side of that, when you look towards the kind of the older gamers, there's people who do like trick runs and speed runs of Punch Out. And there's actually someone had just recently done it. There's a guy who beat Punch Out blindfolded, whole game, Mike Tyson and all blindfolded.
That's crazy.
And so it's kind of when you look at the kids and you're like, man, they did Punch Out, and then he beat Mike Tyson blindfold. It's a whole different generation. The only other thing I really wanted to touch on, just kind of briefly, I hope I can hear the fans kind of geek out over this. Firefly MMO.
It's still happening, folks.
It's a thing. There's actually a cell phone app. I just want to build the hype. It's Firefly. Firefly.
Now, my feelings at MMOs, it's like having a marriage, it's a relationship. You have to be really committed, and I'm scared of that because I already have too many commitments. But it's Firefly, yeah. So we're going to try to keep up with this because it's a perfect fit for our community here because we do talk a lot, predominantly about Doctor Who and science fiction. And Firefly, for Pete's sake, after over a decade, we're still talking about this show. If you haven't seen it yet, there's only like 13 episodes in existence, and that's probably all there ever will be. And they're all beautiful gems that you have to appreciate. This is where I'm becoming a fanboy. You have to watch it. If you like science fiction, if you miss space operas, or you like spaghetti westerns or anime, there's a little bit of everything in there. So good. But folks, it is that time, sadly. But I'm going to do good. I'm going to try to get this video up ASAP, and then maybe take a little power nap, and then get recaffeinated, and bring the hype so we could do some gaming tonight. Maybe we'll do Retro Friday because we're long overdue, and then we'll do some community gaming tonight. So hopefully we'll follow through on that. And if you want to be a part of that, the best place to go is twitch.tv/GeekyAntics. Fatal also has his Twitch channel. What's your Twitch channel, bro?
It is twitch.tv/F_TL_Blades.
Indeed, and we try to host our Twitch stream team members. So if I'm streaming, someone else is streaming, Cupcake Noms or Obi1X2 or Janelle No 5, number 5, whatever you want to say. We have a lot of people on our Twitch stream team. We try to host them on the GeekyAntics channel. I have my own personal channel as well, twitch.tv/YogiZilla. And we'll hopefully see you there quite often this weekend. There's a lot of stuff planned. Our friends in the Spartan Show have this show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be good times. So I'll probably do a post show for that. it's gonna be a great night. It's gonna be a great night. So I'm gonna try to get well rested so I can bring the hype tonight and we can have some fun. But folks, for our new listeners, our new viewers, our new friends, TWTT, Time Whammy Tea Time, can be enjoyed wherever fantastic, beautiful podcasts can be found, including but not limited to Stitcher, iTunes, Zune, TuneIn Radio, and Spreaker. Yes, Spreaker is a thing. I did not say that wrong. Spreaker. Thanks to Casturberus, the Doctor of the Dead, Who's Talking, the Who Story, and Trenzolatum, and everybody else that's been sharing our message forward, helping us come up with great ideas for content, and just helping us keep this wonderful community that is the Huving community, just the overall geek community. There's just a lot of great pockets of wonderfully engaging, supportive people in here. In particular, I have to say, Doctor Who fans are amongst the most approachable and friendly folks, and they just give you wholehearted support. So we love you guys, and we know without the nucleus, which is Doctor Who, we wouldn't be where we're at with this show, and we appreciate you guys so much. Be sure, again, to check out our friends at the Spartan Show and the Worst Radio Show on Twitch.tv. Also, allgames.com. Join us live by clicking the live chat button. And you know what? Now all you got to do is just go to allgames.com, and you can just hit play. There's a HTML5 player, which should work on every mobile device now. So that's where you can listen to us live. And also other great shows on there. We're on allgames.com every Saturday, unless otherwise advertised. And we stream live at noon Eastern. Live. Did I mention live? It is live. Noon Eastern. It is live. Noon Eastern, 5 p.m. in London, and 4 p.m. in Madrid, if my time conversions are correct. GeekyAntics.net. Go there, register, get on achievements, plug your projects, become part of our referral network so we can get you some work, help you get paid, and we can grow our audience together. There's so many things, so many ways we can collaborate and have good times together. Leave some comments. Leave a forums post. That's still a thing.
Maybe join in on the Mega Awesome giveaway.
Yes, that's a thing too. There's so many ways. Just go to GeekyAntics.net, register, fill out your profile. You can at your YouTube. Put your links to your different stuff, let people know what you're up to, what your interests are. So many ways we can get to know each other there. GeekyAntics.net. Of course, don't forget United Broadcasting Network. We are part of that network now on twitch.tv/team/UBN. And I think I covered all our plugs. Do you have anything else you want to share?
Man, I really, I don't know. There's so much. Like, there's so many awesome people out there, but I guess if I forget anything or anyone, make sure you can always check out my Geeky Antics page. I always show love there. Twitter. I tweet everybody. Actually, let's see here. Who I want to give one person a shout out. They're working really hard right now. They're doing some overlays for me, putting in a lot of time and kind of helping me out. That's Linny Bear 23. She's been doing some amazing work, kind of help out. And Obi 1x2, always have fun kind of playing some rounds with him and gaming in general. So yeah, those are my big shout outs.
Yeah, and we also have a Facebook page. That's a good place to go. Facebook.com/GeekyAntics. And you could do the giveaways there, and we also we have other people that are posting to the page, and we're trying to share more people's stuff there. When other people stream, if you're part of our Twitch stream team, we'll try to put your channel there. The video will play from the stream on Facebook. So, we have over 3,000 fans on Facebook, so it's more eyes and ears on your stuff. So, good place to collaborate and just share something neat you found. That's actually how we found out about the Doctor Who Lego set. So that was our friends on the Worst Radio Show. But anyway, we do need to wrap up. Here is our obligatory outro, music, and bumper. We appreciate you guys. Great meeting all the new folks, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now for TWTT. But we'll be here doing Let's Plays and other podcasts. So let's make sure you go GeekyAntics.net/schedule. You won't miss a single thing. Want to say bye? Fader's already ready to go.
Yeah, sure. No. Absolutely. I appreciate everybody who listens. All the listeners are awesome. And I hope to see you guys every time. So much love. Be safe.
All right, folks. We'll see you soon.
We thank you. Yomar and Stan, thank you. We thank you for every crumb, biscuit and cake you bring to the table. Because Doctor Who belongs to all of us. What you bring to the timey-wimey tea time in your live chat participation, comments, likes, shares, tweets and voicemail,
All of it means the world to us. Love, true love, never fails. Do you like it? If you like what we're doing, well, tell us for God's sake. Shout it from the rooftops at GeekyAntics.net or call it in 206 415 4987. That's 206 415 4987. That's it. Bless you. So long. And thanks for all the fish. But on, it won't be that long, just a wee while, because the timey-wimey tea time will be back. We'll return next Saturday with fresh insights, questions and epiphanies about Doctor Who. And heck yes, everything geek. Maybe same bat time, absolutely the same bat channel, every Saturday.
Tiny, whiny tea time. Me gusta.